welcome to Paranormal Lens, sponsored by Jot Nix. I'm Kirstin Truccano, and joining me is Jamie Widener and Chad Thomas.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
No complaints.
We were all in person together this weekend
We did a
With a
thing.
little one.
with a little one. I mean, she was the star of the show.
She
Oh my
really
God.
was.
Absolutely.
The one vendor I like, he's like, I was watching her do her squats.
If I do squats in public like that, people look at me funny.
Same.
They take bets on how many you can do before you can't get up.
One.
I don't
One
think I could do one.
squat. Yeah,
Um,
no.
this was our first time to see her in person,
Yes.
Yeah.
and she is as advertised the cutest baby ever.
Hmm.
And I just have one thing to say, and that is, next thing you know, she's driving.
Yep.
It's okay. Well, for her birthday, someone got her like a little bubble machine. And it's funny. It's great. The bubbles are strawberry scented. But I turned it on and I was like, oh, yeah, you see the bubbles? And she looked at me and she said bubbles. And I'm like, oh my God.
Cool.
So
Cool.
it's like she turns one and all of a sudden she's growing like a weed.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They,
again,
they
next thing
don't.
now,
No, not yet.
not yet. We're not rushing
yet.
it. No, she was a bundle of energy, and certainly you're right. She was a star attraction everywhere we went. So
I think she beat Chonk.
It's tough to beat too.
I love that I saw someone posted about him and I'm like, well, I now know his name is Otis.
Yep.
And he's a bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a great time.
He was everywhere, like
He
Yeah, he was.
investigations all around the. We for those who don't know, I said we'd say this. We were at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash Sunday afternoon. The three of us finally got a chance to get together. And it's a lot of vendors, a lot of friends, of course, of ours and people in the field, but a lot of vendors of different kinds and lots and lots of people. And Otis, this bulldog, I think he's an American bulldog.
English.
I was English. Okay, sorry.
He's in English.
Gonna be proper then. A rather big dog, and he was making his rounds just as any vendor around all the vendors, just like everybody else was. So then we saw some social media posts, and he was out at the orphanage in Gettysburg and another location before that Saturday evening or night. So he had a great time,
Yep.
as he should.
So
So any reflections or thoughts about the bash? Anything you like aha moments or? I mean, obviously it's cool to see our friends and people our peers in the field, but did you notice anything or catch anything there?
I didn't know. I mean, I'm not focused on that when I'm there with those people because it's just that I think that's a good time just to socialize with everybody and sort of not focus on the paranormal while focusing on the paranormal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It does.
So,
It does. Sure.
but we made a few good connections and talked to people who we're going to have on the show.
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to making those connections on air. So yeah, what do you think of it, Jamie? I mean, that was your second time there, so
Sure. Yeah. And well, the one thing is there's the vendor, a booth there who was there last year, back on the far left side, almost to the corner. Same place he was last year as well, but UFO booth of showing where encounters or
Yeah.
sightings have occurred by pinpoints on a map of the country, and it's impressive, and it's heavy on the east and west coast, as you could imagine, because that's where our population density is, but it is scattered all across the country. And of course the fellow who mans the booth is not the author of the books that are provided, but he is a representative, and an interesting conversation to have. And coming after our talk last week about Barney and Betty Hill, it was fresh to mind for me, always an area of interest, but that one always draws my attention, that booth. And the display that he created, or they have created. And of course, it gets bigger every year because there's more stuff on it.
right.
But it's really, really interesting. And, no place is, off not on the map. It's all there. So we've had an encounter somewhere all across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always, again, it's nice to see our friends. And the one person I wanted to talk to wasn't there. Our dear friend Jenny Colucci, and she happened to be on the phone with Anthony when I got to the booth, and so I wound up talking to her anyway. So
Well, that's good.
yeah, the
Um,
modern technology.
yeah, I got to see. I went over on Friday afternoon, so I got to spend about a half hour walking around with Jenny on the floor as she introduced me to
No,
everybody
no,
that
no,
she
no, no,
didn't
no,
know.
no. To tell the truth, she walked you around. She
She
took you
she
by the arm, right?
she did pretty
Yeah,
much.
same thing to me last year. So
And she introduced me to all the people she didn't know. She's like, I don't know anybody here, but every 2 minutes every 10 seconds we were stopping and talking to people. So it was funny. But
absolutely,
yeah,
yeah, that's the way it works. The
Yeah.
network.
yeah.
I mean, this was my first time going to the bash, and I think next year I might try to do the same thing as Chad and go a little bit on Friday and Sunday again. Um, I'm not saying Saturday because possibility if I'm at the Ren Fair, I'm gonna be
Right.
standing outside on Saturday for like 12 hours in a rehearsal, but can definitely swing by a Friday and a Sunday,
hmm
Cool.
and
And
maybe
it's
I'll
is
see Otis again. I'll be
my
there for
man
that
Otis.
dog. I'll be there for the dogs.
So
That's the cool thing about having a weekend event too. Like, it makes it fit for everybody's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I talked to said Saturday was very busy, which I would expect, and Sunday
Yeah.
was medium
Right.
busy, but not certainly. And I was there on Saturday last year, and it was packed, like, elbow to elbow, not elbow to elbow, but everybody was in the aisles. Everything was, people were moving. It was flow. You definitely felt people in the room. It was a little more relaxed Sunday. So, but go all 3 days, make all kinds of connections. Why not?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, there were things I wanted to get to do that I didn't get to do. Like I wanted to go see Ron and Lourdes in their room, set up running their
Yeah.
equipment.
all right.
Um, didn't get to do that. I only got to see one of the speakers. It was Johnny Zaffis, and I forget who he was speaking with, but got to see him a little bit. But they didn't have a projector for him. Like, he was a little disjointed because of that.
Oh, right. Of course.
There was somebody in the room who would made the whole thing about them, and it wasn't Johnny. It was someone sitting in the audience.
Oh,
So everything that he had, like, they had connections, and they were telling a story. And it was like, I'm here to see him, not you. But
We
anyway,
got to see Steve.
we did.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
So
Well, Steve and Chris still doesn't remember me, so I
Yeah.
feel like I'm doing my job. Um, and the whole room, basically every aisle we knew somebody, which was great. And it is exactly as you said earlier, Chad. It's like a friend event, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the important part about the bash, and maybe the field in general is like, we're all in this together, and it kind of those unity moments where everybody gets together, and it's just cool to see the clicks of people, like the people who know the people, other people, and then the
hmm
connections that get made. It's all meshed together.
hmm
That's really fun.
and even on social media the last couple of days, I've been seeing people that I'm connected with that I didn't connect with there. Like, I'm like, how did I didn't see him? How did we miss
Yeah,
him?
yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway, yeah, it was a good event. It was a nice time. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I definitely go back next year.
yeah. So
All right. Well, it's always the same weekend, so mark your calendar.
Right. All right.
mhm.
Another podcast outing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully we get together before then.
Cassie will be 2 by then.
That's right. She'll
Yeah.
be
She's
closer
still.
to driving.
Stop it. No.
No, no, no. I
No.
know. I know. It's still fun to say.
It's
For
fine.
me.
Next year.
Fun for
So,
me to say.
Jamie, next year I'll bring it because, oh God, one of her grandparents got her a little scooter, but it's in the shape of a horse. So we'll bring that, and I'll be like, there, technically she's driving.
All right.
All right. Well, so
So,
Perfect.
we did get other news while we were at the bash. One of our favorite events, the Hanover Tavern Paracon, is going to be
can't
in
wait.
August next year, August 6th and 7th. So put that on your calendars, guys.
Already did. Already did. Yep.
Already there.
Oh, it's so far away.
You know what?
We
It's so
say that
far.
now, and
Yeah.
it'll be here before we know it. So
It's so far away, but we know a great haunted Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? There will probably not be ice on the driveway.
Oh, there better not be in August. Oh no.
Chad and I won't have to almost die. We didn't slide the whole time, and then the one time we're driving back in like the darkness, and all of a sudden his car starts sliding, and I'm like, "That this is how we go."
Yeah.
Going 2 miles an hour, and we're sliding.
127 hours part two.
Oh God! Wait,
So
who's losing the arm?
Yeah, well,
yeah. But anyway,
the hotel I stayed at was well maintained, so just so you know that, okay. Um, no issues coming and going.
so all
And
right.
a
Well,
Waffle House down
anyway,
the street.
we digress, but
Okay,
we're here
there we go.
for we've been talking about haunted stuff, but Kirsten, you're supposed to be presenting something.
Yeah, but real quick, Heather, can we invite ourselves to that with you?
Which thing? The bash, the
I'm pretty sure it's for the
All of it.
Hanover.
all of it.
Yes, the answer
Yes,
is
the answer is
yes.
always yes, no matter what it is, of course.
So yes.
All right. Also, we'll catch up to some comments before we get started. There, we have Stefan checked in with a wave. Paula says hello, everyone. Bert says hi, all. And
Heather
then
confirmed Hanover.
Hanover. Yeah, oh, definitely. Perfect. Yes. Always yes. All right. I think we're caught up.
All right, so what were we talking about? Spooky stuff?
You're talking about something.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Um, as I'm always doing now, so I don't get the look from Jamie that I forgot, I'm going to start by citing my sources. Um, I'll start by first of all saying this is about Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital in Seoul, South Korea. My sources are www.curiousarchive.com/haunted-gojinam-psychiatric-hospital. My other one is kaoccult.com/mysteries/gonjinam psychiatric hospital. Um, this was a fun one to kind of research and look in about. Um, the, I talk about it a little bit in what I found. There was a movie, which is kind of what made this a bit more like interesting to kind of weed out what's true and what's not true. So the two sites I found seem to kind of steered more towards the truth and what's from this movie. So with that, let's begin.
Okay.
For years, it was considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. Visitors claimed to hear whispers echoing through empty hallways, cameras supposedly failed, batteries died without explanation, a locked room known only as Room 402 became the center of terrifying legends. But here's the twist. Almost everything you've probably heard about Gonjiam might have been completely false. The hospital stood in Gangnam-eop, Gwangju, Gyeonggi Province of South Korea. Unlike many famous haunted locations hidden deep inside forests, Gangnam actually sat near homes and farmland. Originally opened in 1982, it operated as a psychiatric hospital. The facility wasn't enormous, but it was large enough to care for dozens of psychiatric patients. For roughly 14 years, it functioned like many hospitals across South Korea. Then, in July 1996, it abruptly closed. Nobody expected the abandoned building would become one of the world's most greatest ghost stories. After closing, nature slowly reclaimed the building. Paint peeled, windows shattered, hospital beds rusted. Medical equipment remained scattered through dark hallways. For local residents, it became an eyesore. For ghost hunters, it became irresistible. Rumors exploded across internet forums. Some claimed 42 patients mysteriously died in one night. Others claimed the hospital director murdered patients. Another story insisted the director went insane before committing suicide. There were stories of ghost nurses wandering hallways, shadow figures appearing in broken windows, children crying from empty rooms, but perhaps the most famous legend centers on room 402. Nobody supposedly knew what happened inside. Some believe the room contained some of the most violent patients. Others claimed something evil remained locked away. One rumor even insisted anyone entering 402 would never return. As with many haunted legends, every retelling became more dramatic than the last. So, some paranormal experiences are alleged, I should say. Visitors report strange activity, including footsteps overheard, even though upper floors were empty, whispering voices, sudden cold spots, feeling of being watched, objects moving, doors slamming, electronic equipment malfunctioning. Many investigators claim batteries drain unusually fast. Some heard balls bouncing balls echoing through the hallway. Others describe hearing hospital equipment operating decades after electricity has been shut off. Abandoned hospitals naturally amplify fear. Long hallways create echoes, wind whistles through broken windows, and animals move inside the walls. Our brains attempt to explain an unfamiliar sound that doesn't necessarily mean nothing paranormal occurred, but it does remind us how powerful expectation can be once people enter believing they'll experience ghosts. Every unexplained sound becomes supernatural in some way. Now, here's the truth behind the hospital. Researchers examined Korean records uh, discover Researchers examining Korean records discovered something surprising. There is no reliable evidence supporting the famous ghost stories. No confirmed patient massacre, no documented cover up, no director murdering patients, no official evidence of mass deaths. Instead, the hospital appears to have closed due to practical issues, including financial problems, maintenance cost, sanitation concerns, and regulatory difficulties rather than paranormal events. Many local residents reportedly dismissed the haunting rumors altogether. Ironically, the greatest problem wasn't ghosts, it was trespassers. Hundreds of thrill seekers entered illegally every year. Police were repeatedly called, and security cameras were installed. Barbed wire surrounded the entrances. Signs warned visitors will be prosecuted in both Korean and in English. Yet, with all of this, people continued breaking in. Everything changed in 2012 when CNN Travel published a feature highlighting Gonjiam as one of the most frightening places. Almost overnight, the abandoned hospital became internationally famous. Foreign ghost hunters arrived, urban explorers posted videos online, and the legend escaped South Korea and spread worldwide. One international media Once international media picked up the story, the haunting almost became impossible to separate from reality. The internet had created a modern ghost legend. Then came the movie. Gonjiam Haunted Asylum was released in 2018. The film followed live streamers investigating the abandoned hospital. It became one of Korea's most successful horror films. Ironically, much of the movie, though, wasn't filmed inside the real hospital. Instead, filmmakers recreated much of the location elsewhere, which was actually at a abandoned high school in Busan, which for a future episode will be covered because it's also allegedly haunted. The owner of the property even attempted legal action against the filmmakers. He argued the film would make selling the property impossible because it reinforced false rumors. The court ultimately allowed the film released, and today many horror fans first discovered Gonjiam through the movie rather than the real history. In May 2018, the owners decided the best thing to do was to demolish the hospital. Some conspiracy theories immediately appeared. People claimed authorities destroyed it to hide evidence, although there's no evidence supporting that. The far more likely explanation was simple: the abandoned structure had become dangerous. It attracted trespassers constantly. It was deteriorating beyond repair, and eventually demolition became inevitable. Today, nothing remains except an empty lot. The ghosts, if they ever existed, no longer have a hospital to haunt. There's something uniquely unsettling about abandoned hospitals. Places built for healing become places associated with suffering. Empty wheelchairs, rusted operating lights, and peeling paint. Long silent corridors. Psychologists often describe abandoned hospitals as environments that trigger uncertainty. Our brains dislike incomplete information. Every shadow becomes a possible figure. Every echo becomes a voice. Ghost stories thrive where imagination fills the gaps. Ganjinom became the perfect example. A real abandoned building mixed with internet folklore amplified by television, made global through social media, immortalized by horror cinema. Whether haunted or not, its legend became real. So, was Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital truly haunted? The answer is really honest. We don't know. There is little credible evidence supporting the terrifying stories that made it famous. Most appear to have grown from rumors, internet storytelling, media coverage, and the eerie appearance of an abandoned psychiatric hospital. Yet paranormal investigation has always lived in the space between certainty and possibility. Sometimes legends tell us more about ourselves than the places they describe. Maybe Ganjinam's greatest ghost wasn't hiding in room 402. Maybe it was the story itself growing stronger every time someone dared to tell it. Would you have entered room 402, or would you have turned back at the front gate? So that's what I have for Ganjinam.
Hmm.
I'm in room 402. Let's go. Like
I would
I've
go.
seen
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
If we could.
Right.
if we could. Yeah. Um, I remember seeing the movie before I went to South Korea in 2023. And I remember looking up to see if it was still a place, and I was disappointed to see, like, first of all, it was everywhere on the websites, like, you can't go in. And then it was also then, oh, they destroyed it. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, Paula has a couple comments here.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was built on a cemetery or on cemetery land or an unmarked burial land.
hmm,
And she also says very interesting. So, and of course, Bert said
402.
or bust. So yeah, I think we would all.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
The next Paranormal Lens needs to be quotes and comments, and 402 or bust has to be on there.
So, so yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame that it's not there anymore. Unfortunately, we end up there way too often, where things are taken advantage of by people, and then the safest thing is just to get rid of it because there's no money to keep it or restore it, or and something like this in South Korea, who knows what it might have gotten turned into. I mean, if there was anything to turn it into, even.
I do know I saw, um, when I was doing research and stuff, at one point there was a company that was wanting to buy the hospital. It was still going to get torn down, but they were going to build a horror themed amusement park there. And I remember when I was reading it, the owner said no because it didn't do justice to the people that lived and worked there, which I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think Stefan says it very well here in a comment. People suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
They just do. I agree.
yeah. I mean, some of the photos that like was showing of like a person climbing into the building. That was a blog that I found that they were like, yeah, we saw that we weren't allowed in there, but we still snuck in. They have a photo of themselves all standing, smiling with thumbs up at the signs that say "Do not enter" under prosecution of law.
Yeah, people just don't think sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes me to in a slightly different direction, but going back to the Aokigahara episode we did, there was YouTuber, Jake Paul's brother, I forget his first name,
Logan.
Logan Paul. Yeah, he's there. They find a body and they present the body on camera, and he's caught laughing about it. The fact that they found this person who committed suicide
Yep.
and presented it first of all, which is horrible, and then the fact that it was a running joke. He apologized afterwards, all the stuff you're supposed to do, but it wound up costing sponsorships, which it should have.
Mm-hmm.
And it just that it shows your mark, who you are. And,
He's also banned from Japan now,
well, there's probably a reason, right? There we are,
rightfully so.
right? But it's that idea that when we've gone places in our lives that we shouldn't have been. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to you about Columbia and a warehouse that is the Turkey Hill Experience property now. It used to be two warehouse buildings that were vacant forever. As kids, we got in. We know how to get through the fence. We
Hmm.
explored the place, and we probably
Right.
put ourselves in a lot of risk. Nothing happened, fortunately, but I get it. I get this. But in the same way, I guess as I'm maturing now and older, I shouldn't say mature, just older. I'm not much more mature, but that's pressure. But the idea now is different to me. What's right and what's wrong about it. And I get the enthusiasm of youth, and I get the temptation of the experience to have, and maybe differently, even more than that, is the idea that you're going to get your 15 minutes of fame on social media. Your pop by
Right.
presenting it to the world, and then that's the picture of the guy climbing in the window.
Yeah.
It's showing it off, and that's where I think maybe that's where we're failing, because that's the need now, and it's forgetting about the rules or about the caution that you really should have when you approach these places. And the permission versus forgiveness is better in this case.
Mm-hmm.
There was a word that came to my mind in all of this, and especially toward the paranormal aspects of like whether things were happening or not. Not having facts to the claims, and the word is expectation. And I think it's there for us in the field all the time, because we know by predecessors of ours to places that something may have happened, and
Hmm.
therefore and this is the whole thing about knowing the history before you go to a thing or not, because then something might be there versus just walking in cold. And when you have an expectation, then you have there you want something to happen, and
Right.
you expect it, hence the expectation part of the word. But that part of it really can challenge the experience you're going to have, and it can sway it one way or the other. And if something is going to happen, I think it's going to happen no matter what. That's fate. That's the way it is. But
Right.
you know, you can claim more of it when something's coming up. But you're then disappointed when it doesn't happen, and then this is where people give places a bad name because something didn't happen. And we say this often enough in public events, but it's not an on-demand thing. So we have to get to that realization first of all that something's likely not going to happen. We walk around in the dark and talk to ourselves, and if something happens, it is our job then to figure out what it could have been first. Take away the positive things, and then the reality things of normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
and what's left might be paranormal. But we can't just automatically put it there. It's not fair. It's not right. Sorry, ramble over.
No, you're good.
Um,
I'm.
Here, let's catch up on a couple comments. Paula said, "Not me. I had the fear of an Italian dad." LOL.
I had a Southern grandmother. I think it's about the same. So yeah.
I came from a very German family, so you didn't mess around.
The amount of trouble the Up Big Boy locomotive tour had with people not using good sense was disturbing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that. Yep.
Um, and then Bert said, and I think we can all agree with this. I went places I shouldn't have when I was young, but I didn't. It was not out of disrespect or being rebellious. It was about exploring the unknown.
I appreciate that.
And I think part of that too was not knowing any better as a younger person. And
Agreed.
we hope that we've all matured and learned more at least, and wouldn't make those mistakes again. I think Paula said agreed to that. So
Yeah, and like it wasn't like I don't know, like a lot of like the asylums or sanatoriums that we see in the U.S. like they were open for like more than 15 years. Where here it was just under that, so it wasn't like this place was open super long.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like there could have been something there just because of people went and worked there, put that energy into helping
Mhm.
these patients. So that energy's there. It could have been something that always stayed there.
And it could be that, but again, we don't know what was there before.
Right.
And the again, we talk about the land is always older than the buildings on top that were built on it, and that land could have been used by multiple generations, by multiple different tribes of people, different eras of people. We just have no clue.
Yeah. I think this the shame is of all these urban legends came out about this place, which caused all these people to go because they wanted a good scare.
Hmm.
Well, sure. And let's go back to the expectation. If you spin a story, about a place, you get your story presented forward, so you're part of the narrative now. And that kind of goes to the 15 minutes of fame moment. Instead of being on social media, now you're just in print, but you're in the mix of the story, and it's easy to continue the story then because we all want the scare factor at some point or another, whether it's in the field or not, or whether
Hmm.
it's in our living rooms, watching something, it's in our nature to get scared, and it's kind of, it's why horror existed, horror films exist and suspense exists,
Right.
we want it. So, if we are just hearing the stories and not having the experiences, the story's going to change every time it's told. It always does. We talk about this often, whisper down the lane, a telephone game, whatever you want to call it, and you're always the hero of your story. So you got to embellish it to your taste and touch, to the audience you're giving it to. Very likely
Mm-hmm.
this did not start this way,
Right.
and it's easy as soon as something goes down, like the property closing, it's easy to all of a sudden say it's something bad, but the reality is, and this happens here often too, funding runs out, money dries up. A lot of these places are subsidized heavily by federal funding or government funding, and whatever it is in South Korea. You know, it's not private, or it's the insurance companies paying for it, and if the
Mhm.
services aren't being provided, the money goes away. And all of a sudden, you can't run these joints for free. So we see a sudden closure. It happens in health services here too. We have hospitals
Yeah.
currently that are closing in the Midwest. There's just not clients or patients going to them. And that's a whole big thing. And then where do the people go? That's a whole nother problem now, because you're talking about a psychiatric hospital. So those people need care. Where are they going to? I hope they landed somewhere with quality care, and they're on their, hopefully a lot of those folks should still be alive. This is not that long ago,
Right.
Yeah.
very likely anyway. So I hope they receive a good quality life after the
I
closure.
mean, that's the owner of the hospital. He's still alive. Like,
Yeah, this
and
isn't that long ago.
he fought to try and keep it open. He like, and that was a big thing from when I was reading it was, um, it was septic systems were starting to be put into these hospitals, and it was Gonjiam didn't have one because it was in a small little farm town, Providence, and it really didn't need it just yet. And when they started trying to look into it to get up to the state that it had to be to operate in Korea, it was too much money, which is, yeah, that financial issue.
Yep.
It's the photos I found of it definitely looked intimidating, and I can see where those rumors and everything came out about, like, oh, the director murdered all these people. It's like, I get it, it's scary, it's intimidating. um but I don't know, I've
Well, look, let's go back. Let's go back to Trans-Allegheny for a moment. Our
yeah,
investigation there. So you go down into the old part, the Civil War part. You've got this beautiful preserved hallway ward that's just as it was back then, right?
yeah.
And then you would come back to the other wing and you cross over the hump, and you go into the unexplored part. The new opened part that is just absolutely a bomb went off in, and there's like boards holding walls up, and
Yep.
but underneath it, beautiful terrazzo floor. What it was.
Right.
All the
Hmm.
plasters come off everything. And everything's on the ground, and windows are busted out, and one door wasn't even secured on the back. I mean, it's just the place was chaos. And it's in the same building.
Hmm.
And it's really not that far apart from the really nice preserved piece. So it happens, and that you know that just shows you where we are. And Tala makes me think too, like the patients who were there, they were well cared for. And I as a psychiatric facility as well, and here we are, talking about care, and we in our own place haven't had the best of access points or connections to people to get resources. And being in a rural place in South Korea, I can understand the challenges they would have had. Even though it's in a town in West Virginia, it's still fairly rural for Trans-Allegheny, and as big as it was, they had their struggles too.
I
Right.
mean, Ashmore was the same way.
There you go. Yep.
It wasn't what we would see as top care because it was a poor farm, but the people that lived there were happy there.
Yeah.
Because it was care. It wasn't the best, but it was still giving them what they needed.
And you build your community from that, like your
Yeah.
own community, and you have a home community wherever you're from, but the place you are is also your community, and you make the best of it. And it's easier when you're happy, I guess, right? Of course, but
Hmm.
but that comes from having good care and having responsible staff and
Right.
management above it to take care of you. I mean, that's great.
Yeah. Paulo made a comment. There's not many facilities out there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I know that, Jamie, you and I know this because having a teenager who we was looking for a facility,
Mhm.
and at one point, and facilities for youth are even
Worse,
more
Harder.
scarce.
Yeah.
harder, worse to find. Right? There's less,
And
or less.
when you do find them, they're unfortunately a lot of them are run by for-profit
They're
companies,
private. Yep.
and they're private and they're hard to get into. They're not managed well. Um, so this is something our healthcare system needs to look at. So,
Well,
You know,
I could say this coming out of the social service world, as a past career, when there is money coming to you from your government, whatever that be, your local, your state, your federal, you have a higher level of oversight and responsibility than you do if you're in the private sector. And not that there isn't there, but it's not as much because the money isn't the same, if it's private funded. So, and that's in the hospital world. It's all kinds of different places. We have nonprofit hospitals, we have for-profit hospitals, same idea, and not to say you wouldn't get emergency care in both the same way.
right.
It's just there's some differences when you're in the long-term care.
yeah.
And that is, and to put a point to your point is exactly why we are failing with health in the United States in general, because we are not all equal to get access to it, regardless of what kind of care we need. and that's where we are. When we stack against the rest of the world, we just don't do well, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, Jamie, stay up
Yeah.
there.
So but back to where we come from. Well, I've been in the healthcare industry for over 30 years and I've seen a lot of changes. I'm sure you are, Paula, and thank you for your 30 years of service.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. But so thank you. But back to what we want to talk about. Is it paranormal?
I feel like there could have been paranormal there. Um, I, I, I feel yeah, I feel like there could be just because again, there was passion and there was energy given into the place. And again, like we said earlier, we don't know what was there before with the earth.
Right.
Well, to follow that, I'd say where there's passion, there's energy, and there's energy, there's activity. Right? We say it all the time. Right?
Yeah,
That's like that should be on a shirt too, right? That's
always ghost stuff.
another one. But to me, no. No,
Yeah.
I'm struggling to find it, and here's why. Very specifically, one of the things you mentioned was CNN's putting it as their one of their most frightening places list, locations,
Mm-hmm.
and those kind of things, along with the rumor mill of the locals saying something happened. It creates it sort of there by it creates the belief in activity versus the knowledge of activity. And I can't. I'm never going to say this to be 100% because I've never been there. I can't say anything about it. It's not there anymore to investigate even. But it just for me, it just kind of steps it back some to put it to be something where it's almost it's well, I want to say tulpa like because that's a created
Mm-hmm.
Right.
event, but and not that even. But the idea that it's just kind of been mass produced and not necessarily organically created by the sense of activity on site. I guess maybe what I want to say better is I wish there would be some documentation from investigators that we could refer to. But
Right.
without that kind of, evidence, it is really hearsay and conjecture. And that's to me is just, yeah, it's a cool story, but I think that's where it ends for me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, Jamie.
Yeah.
I think I resonate with that. So yeah, I think
Kirsten, you can change your answer.
I don't know. Well,
Kidding.
so Jamie, because book you gave Chad and I, The Waldorf Effect.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that, it kind of made me start thinking back to the Waldorf Effect, where some of the hauntings that happened there came from the movie Hell House,
Mm-hmm.
with all of these rumors and everything going around. Part of me is thinking maybe those hauntings at Gonjiam were because of these rumors and legends. So
Sure.
I'm kind of siding with you now.
Well, you can believe anything you want,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
That's the power of this
well,
of all of these experiences we have, and the uniqueness of all three of us standing in the same space and each having something different, as far as an experience it's in the space, is the beauty of the paranormal in general, I think. And, because it's meant for you in the moment, and we've said that here before many times, like that's why somebody may feel a cold spot standing next to someone who didn't, or someone may smell something the other one didn't. We all have a different sense of our sense of our senses. That was from the Department of Redundancy Department. But, each of us are attuned differently to the experience. So I get that, and I've come to accept that through all these years of doing this, and that's why I can say I'm unsensitive because what you guys both with sensitivity, higher levels of sensitivity, I trust you to be in the spaces, and that's why I want to go for evidence on physical things. But we would be remiss to say that like all three of us could have a uniquely different experience in the same place, and that'd be okay.
Right.
And
Which is
that's kind
normal.
of what this is.
Yeah. So it is normal for everybody to have their own experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times were we investigating with Melissa and Jerry, where Jerry would sense something completely different than us, and you know,
Or
Absolutely.
Jerry would hear something and then we knew it was real.
well, we knew it was something.
We knew it was something if Jerry heard it.
Yep.
So,
Oh my. Yeah, and that's the point, and that's why it's always well, it's always preferred you investigate with others. Number one, because you go alone, things can happen, but that you have someone to bounce with, things with,
right.
the experiences, and that's why when we do events, when in the in betweens, we discuss what we experience because that way we all can connect it. And somebody who may not have spoken up in the moment may say, yes, I did too, or I know that I had that
Yeah.
experience as well, or something uniquely different happened for me instead.
Mm-hmm.
And that just opens up opportunity.
Right. Here's another comment from Paula. It would be great if people would take those old buildings and rebuild them rather than see them just left to be condemned. I could see why rumors can start about it being haunted. And we've talked about this multiple times. Crescent is another one.
Yeah.
That if something isn't done with it, it's going to go downhill.
Or it
Would
becomes an airsoft field.
right.
It's
Which
already happening.
these if you look at another one of our favorite places, Whitehall Mansion, that was let go for years and years and years, and now the money that it's going to cost to restore that is astronomical.
Yeah.
I spent a little bit of time on Friday talking to Kyle and Dawn,
Yeah.
and they are hoping to get a really big grant in August. They're going to find out, but that's just a little bit. That's just a tip of the iceberg for them with the work that has to be done.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're focusing on exterior because that's what preserves the rest of it. You got to have the exterior, the envelope sealed to keep the
Before you
rest.
can go to the interior.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
and then Bert had a comment here. Paranormal is everywhere there is life or death, but not sure about the hospital itself. Could just be the area. So,
Yeah.
yeah, lots to think about. So,
Yeah, I think Heather said it has a good comment here too, with respects to all of this, is that too many ghost hunters and not enough investigators.
mm-hmm.
The thrill seekers, the social media pop people, getting it on camera or getting in, something to share out versus doing the actual legwork of an investigator and spending the time, that would take to understand what's really going on there. I really appreciate it. I resonate to that too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's paranormal shows on YouTube I used to watch because before they were in for it for the investigation, and now they're there just for the shock value.
Right.
I'm tired of hearing them scream for 30 seconds straight over the tiniest little bump in the dark.
Right. And then here's another one. I remember watching a paranormal show where they did take an old hospital and turned it into a horror attraction. And we see this a lot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes that's what they have to do to get their funding to keep them open.
Yeah.
Um,
That takes me to West Virginia Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Part of that property every Halloween season is a haunted attraction. In Mangus Mills, not too far from us, on the way over to perhaps your dad's house, Chad, in the other side of York County, the edge of Adams County, there is a mill there, Kelly's Mill, I believe it's called.
Kelly's Crypt, yeah.
Which is Kelly's Crypt,
Yep.
but it is a haunted attraction.
Mm-hmm.
The mill is forever old, and I get it. You need operating capital, so every Halloween season is a big deal because the attraction is there for that. That may make the budget for the rest of the season or the rest of the year.
Yep.
I think they said Trans Allegheny does a haunt.
They do. One of the other
They
buildings.
do.
Yep.
Penhurst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it goes back to what I said. Everybody wants that scare, like that is part of our culture, our psyche,
Mm-hmm.
even. But it is seasonal to some degree. You don't see these all year long. It's just the Halloween, we'll call it spooky season,
mm-hmm.
which technically starts Saturday, right? August 1st. Is that right?
Let's get spooky.
Yep. Um, when I was at I can't remember the one in Radford, Virginia. I can never remember the name of it. I remember investigating in the basement of that, and we were in the dark, and somebody turned a flashlight, swept the room with a flashlight, and we discovered where they stored a whole bunch of their clowns for their.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely not. I'd
yeah,
have a heart attack.
yeah. It was not pleasant. So
I would have to go change my pants.
Well, if you recall, Chad, or actually, Kirsten, I think you were with us as well. But the only ghost we found at Trans Allegheny was the blow up ghost that was in one of the closets
hmm
in
Yes.
the original wing
Yeah.
from their attraction. So
yeah.
physical ghost we found, I
Yeah.
should say.
Here's another comment from Paula. When I investigate, I look more to debunk things if possible. I also respect the space I'm in. I never provoke. She would fit in really
Yep,
well with us, wouldn't she, Jamie?
absolutely.
Agreed.
So,
We'll have to figure out a time in this place.
yeah. And then Bert said, my sister lived in the mill house. It was haunted before haunted was cool. When you say the mill house, Bert, which one's that?
The mill house.
Yeah, that one, the one on Mill Street.
Is it Mangus? I mean, maybe it is Mangus Mill.
That's a big property. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. And I remember being in high school, going to their haunted attraction several times. It was their version of like Field of Screams here,
Ugh.
or Jason's Woods, whatnot. We have in our South Central Pennsylvania area. It was their version of it. Folks run around, try to scare you, pop out of places, chainsaw without a chain, all the stuff.
Yeah. It's with a G, Bert, but Mangus Mills. Yep.
Mingus Mills, yep. Good. Oh, very cool.
And Paula's in, so we
All
have
right.
another person on our crew here.
All right.
So,
We got it.
Let's go.
so
Road trip. Just
Well,
not to South Korea.
I'm going to say this then, since we're talking about potential for investigations. Our dear friends down at the Hanover Tavern have announced their next public event
Ta-da.
is going to be on November 7th, which is a Saturday evening,
mhm.
and we all three, but maybe just one or two of us will definitely be there. So we can
Uh,
coordinate that. We'll
Yeah,
be there.
yeah. In
We'll
other
post
words,
more about that
Jamie's
as we get
going in
closer.
if we can get our acts together, and Kirsten and I can get down.
I'm going no matter what. Yeah.
I will definitely be going. I just need to. Is husband bringing child and staying in a hotel, or does husband want to stay up here?
Aha. Logistics.
Just also, I will not be driving through DC again. I learned from our last trip down there. People don't know how to stop at a stop sign in DC.
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
well, but
No,
anyway,
there are ways to go, of course.
There are ways to go, and DC is not the way.
yeah.
Okay.
So, well, and there's other places we've got that we're talking with, and
Yeah,
our buddies at White Hill are wanting us to come back. Um, they need all the help they can get. I don't know if you guys heard, but they had in that July 4th storm, they had a
oh,
tree fall on their trailer.
Yeah. I checked in with Kyle while I was in on Sunday.
Uh-huh. So yeah, they now have an office inside the mansion, and porta johns as they call
ugh.
it. So yeah, so
um,
so
I know I have also. I have a reminder on my phone to reach out to Selma. So
okay.
Yeah.
Stop signs are a suggestion here in Delaware, so I get it.
Yeah, they are exactly. I there's always the old joke of whether if it's a stop sign that has the white line around the edge, it is optional.
gotcha.
That's what we've
That
been
explains
saying.
so much.
But the solid red you have to stop at.
Okay.
I didn't realize that's why I'm getting honked at all the time in Lebanon because I'm stopping at the stop sign with the white line.
Yes, Heather, we do have to investigate.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
we're working on it. So all right, well, why don't we look at what's coming up?
Yeah.
Well, before we go, thanks for the
Yeah.
topic. It is,
Yeah.
it is one of those places that I had never heard of before. I'm unfamiliar with the film you mentioned. Even after you teased about it, I had zero time to watch it this week, but I'll catch up to it. But it's one of those places of many around the world that have just it's gotten a reputation, and hopefully it's earned, for activity's sake. But it is one of those where we just unfortunately can't go figure it out, which would be cool if we could.
It'll always be a mystery.
Always be a mystery now, which is the thing of its own. That's really cool too. It will continue. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Next week, there's a whole bunch of fours associated with this episode. It is on August 4th. It is season 4, and it is episode 4. So next Tuesday at 9 p.m., I'm going to be doing an episode on that I'm calling "Where the Mirrors Remember: The Haunting of Myrtle's Plantation." There's definitely some stories about mirrors that involved, and be interested to dig into that one a little bit. It's going to be a great show, Jamie. You're going to love it.
Okay. I love plantations.
hmm August 11th, the Koiba Island Penal Colony. That's Jamie. Then August 18th, The Devil Made Me Do It. Is it Arne or
Arnie.
Arnie Johnson trial? August 25th, The Soul Remembers Path. I'm going to be focusing on the past life regression that I had a couple weekends ago in Delaware. So, I did see the stop signs are optional thing down there. That's with my friend Desert Star. And then September 1st, the Bennington Triangle. And then September 8th, Lizzie Borden. So we got a whole bunch of fun stuff coming up. Looking forward to all that. And as always, you found us on either YouTube or Facebook Live, and probably found us on one of the streaming services. If you're watching this in not live, but if you want to reach out and connect with us, there's a bunch of ways of doing that. The team's website is www.jott-nyxparanormal.com. That's jotnyxparanormal.com. You can email us at info@paranormal-lens.com. You can find all this information on our link tree plus much more, which is linktr.ee/paranormal lens. And if you like what we're doing and you want to help help us cover the cost of things, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/paranormal9. That just helps cover some of the expenses and defray the cost for us. And we appreciate anybody who can help us out there. And really, we want to thank you for being part of our family. We're here every Tuesday night, and we have a good time. But it makes it more fun when there's people jumping in the conversation and being part of that. And if you're not with us live, send us an email, drop us a comment with wherever you're watching. It'll get back to us. What is it? Give us some stars, Jamie.
Stars if there, of course, we love them.
So,
17, 18 of them. I don't know, however many you can.
So, but yeah, we appreciate getting feedback. Love us or hate us, give us feedback. We want to know what you're thinking. So so check it out. Get back to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. One thing too to add to that, Chad, and with the connection is if there's something you'd like us to cover for an episode, we do listener submissions all the time, and we're always happy to do it. We just need a little time to research it, get it into the schedule. But so just let us know, and that's where you can drop us an email. You can drop us a comment in one of the episodes where you're at, whatever it may be, whatever's easiest for you. We'll find it. We'll do it. We do it all the time, and we're always happy to. So look forward to that opportunity.
Here you go, Jamie. 5 stars.
Oh,
5 stars.
Oh, quit it.
So,
thanks, Bert.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
No,
not at all. Good episode.
Yeah, definitely a good episode. So to wrap it up, Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital remains one of the world's most infamous haunted locations. Whether legend or something more, the mystery will continue. So thanks for watching The Paranormal Lens, and we'll see you next time. Stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night, everybody.